Okay, mate, thank you for coming on. So today what we're going to do is look through the male advantage. So the male advantage is something that I did on my YouTube channel a few years ago. We've never done it in person like this. It's always been a breakdown of an individual and their story through life. So as a 16-year-old lad, nothing going right, you're all spotty, etc. You've not done your gym transformation yet, you've not got your money up, your fashion's not good. And then their journey through life. So we believe that men peak later in life. Men might get to like 28, 29, 30 and things start coming together. So we just basically wanted to run through that with you and see kind of your journey. So set the scene for us. 16-year-old Rob, what's going on? Who are you? And what's happening in your life?
So this is the perfect time for me to have this conversation, okay? Because I've just moved into my first home, just bought my first property, and I'm 31 now. I turned 31 in January, so at the start of the year. So I'm just really feeling that male advantage, honestly, only the last year. Just getting into it, okay? So perfect time to have this conversation, and thank you so much for coming out and sitting down with me. It's like therapy, okay? So I'm really excited for today. So let's go back to 16-year-old Rob, okay? In boarding school in Ireland, and bottom of my class in every single thing. Quite good at athletically, bit of a jock, as some people say. Always had a great group of friends and everything, but academics, I was like literally, there were 75 guys in my year, I was number 75. And so this continued, up till I was about 18 in my final year of boarding school. And then it came to what I think it's GCSEs for you guys. It's the leaving cert for us. And so that defines what college you get into in Ireland. And so all my friends were, they were decent enough. They were not on my level, and my bad level. And so I did my leaving cert, and I did terribly in it, okay, of course. Because again, I just couldn't concentrate. I've got OCD, ADHD, all that good stuff, okay? Which I believe is a superpower, but we'll go back to that later, okay? And my teachers were always they would chalk me down as a messer, as a not a serious person, which I took wholeheartedly, okay? And, I'm a very fun, outgoing guy now, but now I see myself as a very serious person. I'm someone who gets shit done, okay? But at the time, when I was growing up, I was not sure of myself. I had no direction. I would kind of make a joke out of myself. I would see myself as stupid. So these were all limiting self-beliefs that I'd given myself. So we're starting off on a rocky foundation, okay? Real coming of age. So this is me finishing school. I get bad results in my GCSEs, leaving cert, okay? We call it LC. And so I get into this college course, and it's not great, okay? I just about scrape into it, okay? And it's a business course, as broad as you get. Didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do in life. I was just like, business. Oh, sure, this sounds good. Everything's business. Long story short, did not learn a single thing about business. I was there sitting in that class with these dinosaurs, trying to have never even started a business in their life. Never mind started a successful one. They've never even started and failed. I remember asking one of them once. I was like, have you ever started a business or tried to? And they're like, no, I teach it. And I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So after 2 years, again, continued to fail all my exams. After 2 years, I ended up dropping out. And I'm about 20 at this stage, maybe 21. Still feeling very lost in life and very far from hitting my male advantage. So, I have a long, hard look at myself. I'm waking up at 2 p.m. every day. I'm playing GTA, Call of Duty. I'm eating all right. Diet could be better. The only thing that was consistent in my life was hitting the gym. Okay, that was the one thing that I was good at. Now, again, my results, you can only make so much results in a short period of time, but I was at the start of my journey, but I was enthusiastic, okay? I was still to figure out a lot of things, but that was the one consistent thing in my life, okay? So I read, this is almost embarrassing to say, but kind of funny, okay? You've probably heard of the most basic bitch self-improvement book there is, okay? The Secret. Yeah. And it's good. Look, all it is just your thoughts become things. There's the book summarized. You don't have to read the book, okay? So I started changing my mindset, and I stopped seeing myself as the class clown. I stopped seeing myself as an idiot. And I started seeing myself say, hey, maybe I'm right and they're wrong. Fuck these guys. And so I started watching a ton of Gary Vee, Christian Guzman, who's now one of my best friends. So again, we'll go into network building as things go on. This is going to be a great conversation, right? And so I started learning about all these things. I strip it all back and I say, okay, what's the one thing I'm consistent at? And it's the gym, it's lifting weights. I said, how do I make money from doing bicep curls? So I ended up starting a Facebook page. I became a fully qualified PT, really high level as well. And they were the first exams that I passed without having to study. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm not so stupid after all. Maybe I was just, I was being forced to sit through these things that I had zero interest in. So when I hear people say, follow your passion, chase your dreams, people say, oh, that's so cringe and cliche. It's fucking true. Of course it's true. Idiots say otherwise. Okay, the person that has an actual interest in something will lap. They will work so much harder than the person that doesn't have an interest in it, and they won't even realize it's work. They will lap you so fucking hard that someone who has a genuine interest and passion in a topic, it doesn't matter if the other person is even more talented than them. If the other person has more passion, in my opinion, passion always wins, okay? So I was so passionate about fitness, training, nutrition, so I started going all in on that, okay? And then the first thing I did was I started a Facebook page. I started writing articles as statuses. So I'd write really long articles going through myths, fads, giving out really good evidence-based training and nutrition information. And lo and behold, I got one day, I got an inbox, and I got another one and say, Rob, can you help me with my training and nutrition? And at this stage, I'm working like shitty jobs that I hated. Like every day I'd wake up, I'd question my existence. I'd say, there's no way that this is just the end of it. There's no way that this is my life. There's no way I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm driving in Dublin traffic for 2 hours with the rain penetrating my shitty BMW like it was a beater. It was 20 years old, okay? The rain was coming through the cracks in the windows. Like that thing was not sealed off, okay? And it would fucking break down in the middle of the road, and I'm driving through, going to this job that I hated. It was sitting at a cubicle in this startup company that, again, I had no interest in. I didn't even think they knew I was sitting there. I said, there's got to be more to it. And I just listened to, right this morning when I was doing cardio, I listened to an amazing podcast. Diary of a CEO, Alex Hormozy was speaking on it. And he goes, it's great to have something to work towards, but it's also even better to combine that with something to run away from. So I was running.
I've got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the study that he quoted, I'll butcher this, but it was something like they got a bunch of rats and they had one hatch where it was like the smell of cheese, so they'd run towards the cheese, and the other hatch they had a cat. Yeah, so they'd run away from the cat. And when you combine, obviously if you have one on each time, it's a motivator to run towards a certain direction. But when you have the two things combined, it's powerful. So I had a job I fucking hated, and I had something that I was passionate about. So I said, no matter what, I'm going to make this work. The only tattoo I have, one of my ankles says, I'll either find a way or make one. Okay, and that's something that I live by. So I said, how am I going to make a career out of fitness? So I started this Facebook page. At the time, Facebook was hot. I started putting out written information. Got an inbox, Rob, can you do me a training and nutrition plan? That was the first ever entrepreneurial thing that I ever did. And so I made a website. I got like a Brazilian graphic designer to do me a WordPress site, paid him €100. And I was like, can this thing take card payments? And he was like, sometimes. The thing would crash every fucking minute. Yeah, error 404 would pop up on that. But it was able to do it, okay? And so I wrote an ebook. And I sold it for €30. There was a training one and a nutrition one. You get the two of them for €30. You buy them each separately for 20. So, push people to buy the whole thing. And that was the first entrepreneurial thing I did. And then I started coaching people individually online, super barbaric via email, just so like no app, which I have now, which we'll of course go into how to scale your business, but no app or anything, very prehistoric. And, but that is the first entrepreneurial thing I did. So that was kind of the first chapter of my teens and early 20s. It was failing school, failing college, quitting my job, finding a passion, and running away from something I hated and making my first online sale.
Would you say then the first thing you had to get over was mindset? Like you almost had to make sure that your mind was in the right place, that you had to reset this before you could make that progress? Because like as a young man, a lot of your early years are kind of spent getting rejected, getting told you're not good enough, because we don't have everything that we need yet. So would you say that was like the first hurdle for you to try and just change the way you looked at yourself?
That was the biggest thing. That was the only change that happened. Like one fucking morning, I just woke up and nothing else was different. The walls were the same. The sky was the same. The only thing that changed was I started seeing the glass half full. This is the only thing. I just read that silly book. It's the only thing. And then I just started saying, hey, look, I'm going to look at the best possible outcome in everything. So it all begins in the mind. It's the power of the mind. And once you learn to train your mind, they'll actually even push you to train your body. They'll get you in the gym. The mind comes first, because you're not going to walk out the door and go to the gym unless you get your mindset straight. So the first thing you need to get in check is your mindset. And you need to make your default positive. You need to make your default like, I can do this.
It's really interesting because everybody who does like a journey, a transformation journey, they always start with like The Secret, Chicken Soup for the Soul, mindset books like The 7 Habits of the Highly Successful People. It's always those sort of books where, when I first started, I was searching like success books. That's literally what I typed in, Google. Success books, like how do I get better and that sort of thing. You're online searching like alpha males versus beta males. You've got to build that knowledge base before you can move forward. When did you start seeing after that where there was like a separation between, like I call it putting points on the board. So the average person does nothing. Yeah. So like when did you realize like, I'm actually putting some points on the board here? Like compared to the average person, I've actually gone up a notch. It might not be the elite level that you wanted to get to, but you saw a distinct difference.
Yeah, so that was probably when I was able to quit my job. So I was doing the fitness coaching thing, the ebooks on the side, and I call this the magic number, okay? Because a lot of people, they say, when should I quit my job to go all in on pursuing my passion? Because I don't actually recommend doing that from the get-go, or you could fail and then you quit your job and then you're in a real tough spot. So what I recommend doing is, it's like the transition period, right? You're working, let's say 9 to 5, and then from the hours of 7 to 10 or 7 till 2 in the morning is what I was doing. You're working on the side hustle, okay? And the moment your side hustle makes more than your main job, well then it's safe. You got the safety net. It's a magic number. It's safe to quit. Now, at the time, I was earning minimum wage in Ireland. I was working 9 to 5, earning €1,800 per month. How can you even live off that? In today's day and age, like with inflation and everything, it's nothing. But as soon as my fitness business made $2,000 for 3 consecutive months, then I said, it was so difficult as well. And I walked into my boss's office and I was like, look, I'm 22. I really want to go all in on this. I'm going to have to leave. And he was honestly like right on. He was like, fair play, go on, lad. He was actually a pretty nice guy, And so that was probably like when I really felt I was gaining control of my life. And that's when I felt I had some points on the board. And that's actually when I started looking at my life as a movie. I was like, here's the hero story. I was like, this is the come up moment. I was like, now I'm out my own. Now I've got to really make it happen.
How long did that last? Because that's a phase, isn't it? Like people think it's going to be, okay, I'm in the hero's journey and next year everything's going to be perfect. But that's very likely a block. Like for me, that was like 5, 6, 7 years, just like a chunk of day after day doing the same things. Like how long did that last for you?
It's so funny that you say that. I think that was the happiest period of my life. I think that was when I was like peak happiness, peak excited. And like you said, it lasts like a couple of years. And so at this stage, I quit my job when I was 22, went full time into YouTube and fitness coaching and other business ventures. And so 22 to 26 was that real, the hero's journey. And then like when you hit past that 25 mark, you're like, now it's time, I'm becoming an adult. I'm becoming like a real man. It's really time to get serious. Like the fun's over. So yeah, about a little 3-4 year block.
It's interesting you say that, getting serious, because that block, the reason it was the most fun of your life, I think, for me personally, is the simplicity. Because you've got to worry about nothing other than, I'm just getting better every single day.
Yeah.
You know, like gym newbie gains.
Yeah,
You're getting that bit in life. So
Yeah.
everything's new, everything's different. And I don't get the same buzz anymore from certain things that used to give me a massive buzz. Like you've gained a certain number of followers, or something's happened, or you see like a beautiful part of the world like this for the first time. You're like, I could move out there. But then as you get a little bit older, you've got that exposure where you've seen all that multiple times.
Exactly, yeah.
So that like fades away. The point you're at there, you were 26 years old.
Yes.
That is pivotal,
Yes.
right?
That was the pivotal point.
It's a really important age. Like I've said on the channel before, 27 is the most dangerous age for men. And the reason is apparently 27 is the age that men have the most sex. And it's where the tables just start to turn. So for the first time ever, you might attract, I don't like using the scale too much, but it makes sense. Like you might attract a woman who's like a 7 or something, or like the first beautiful woman that's ever wanted you comes along. So then you get carried away with it. And I call it like a 7-year destructive window, where after that people get a mortgage, they get married, they have kids, etc., and all their money just goes. It's like the most dangerous age. What were you doing around that time? Like how did you bridge from where you were there to like the next level and not get caught up in that? I've made some results, I'm doing quite well, I look pretty good, I'm getting probably the first decent female attention of your life. Did you kind of dive into that, or did you go, how do I get around that and go to the next level? I call this the stick or twist moment, where you go, okay, I'm going to take what I've got, or deal me another card. I want to go again.
Bro, you couldn't have nailed it more there. I'm laughing as you're saying that, okay? Because at that exact age, about 26, coming up to 27, I was in a 6-year relationship all up until that age. And then me and the girl, we ended up breaking up, going our separate ways. And I was in my 20s and I was in a relationship for, all my early 20s. And then all of a sudden I'm single, I'm doing pretty well. Like I'm doing better than most 26-year-olds. And I went into this journey of self-development. So we were living together, in an apartment, and then she moved out because, I was paying the rent. And so it was just me here on my own in this apartment, quite a nice apartment in Dublin. But I had all this time to myself, all of a sudden like that, okay? And so this is something I still do to this day, and it's one of the best habits I've ever instilled into myself. And I know when I tell people to do this, it changes their life. From the moment I wake up till as I'm doing my chores, as I'm driving around, this is what I started doing at this age. I constantly have a podcast or a talk playing, something motivational, positive, or informative, okay? And at the time, I was listening to so much things very similar to your content from guys like Real Social Dynamics, RSD and all. And I got into Jordan Peterson as well. And it was the background to my life, okay? And I was constantly listening to this positive reinforcement, learning about confidence, learning about dating. And it changed me. It's like it brainwashed me to become a different person. And this was the most pivotal moment of my life. Started becoming single, doing very well. I had that 3-4 year period where I just went nuts and got the whole early 20s out of my system. I was like, whoa. And I started, making more money. And this is when, for me, the male advantage started to happen. Not yet nearly complete.
What age do you think that was?
Oh, so this was 26, 27. Okay, just as you said, you said the exact age when men have the most sex.
I think it's like 27, 28, turning
Yes.
into the tables, and you either fall for it, you fall for the trap because you go, I've never had this before. I love the attention. This is great. It's new. I want to bring this in.
Yeah.
Or you go, I'm going to twist again. I'm going to go to the next level.
Yep. So I went a bit wild for like 2-3 years, got everything out of my system, and then I said, Rob, it's time to rein it in a little bit. It's time to level up again. You're getting complacent, you're getting too comfortable, life is great, but you need to go one more, okay? You need to level up. So then, I pulled it back, met my current girlfriend now, and I think I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this as well. Do you think you're more productive when you're single or in a relationship?
I think it depends on the mindset that you're in. If you've been at that level for a while, you're probably more productive if you've got a girlfriend because you're used to it. Yeah. It's almost like when somebody newly becomes successful, all they want to tell everybody is how much money they're making, how successful they are. You get in shape for the first time, you live with your top off. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think if you've already had some of those results, you're like, I've slept with a bunch of beautiful women. I know, I'm not getting FOMO from a night out anymore. because I've done it, I've been there, I've taken a few home, I've enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? So at that point, girlfriend, I think, would probably make you more productive.
Yeah.
As long as she was at a certain level where you're like, that's what I've always wanted. That's a top level woman. She's beautiful. She's something I've always dreamt of. Then you're going to plan for the future.
Yep.
But I think if you're just on your come up, I think you're probably more productive if you're single.
Yeah.
Because then you can just really focus on your grind. And because at that point, if you've got a girlfriend, you might then regret it. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you want to
think
use
it's
that time
important
wisely.
I think it's important for a guy to be single for like maybe 2 or 3 years minimum in their 20s. You know, some guys can be single for their whole 20s. They have a great time. But yeah, it's down to the individual. But so for this age, you know, 26, 27, the age you mentioned, 28, just going full Rambo mode, you know, going on a mad one. Still also chasing success, but enjoying the seeds that I laid in my, you know, early 20s. And you know, still working on my fitness business a lot and still making moves. And then got into the current relationship that I'm in now and really started to focus again, because when you're single, like I was putting in like an hour in the DMs every day. You know, like I was like, this is tough.
Was your following growing by then?
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly, going crazy. I was just off Love Island.
Oh my God, I actually forgot you did that.
Yeah, I was on it for like 10 minutes. Yeah, but still, you know, the buzz that generated.
Did that get results?
It actually did, man. You have your little Love Island in the bio, and girls don't even watch it. Like, girls don't even care if you're on it for like 5 minutes. I was on for like 2 episodes, you know.
True.
Like
that was when blue ticks mattered too.
Oh, it did, yeah, man.
Like,
so
now everyone's buying one.
Yeah, they're actually they're like, now it's cool not to have one. Yeah. But so yeah, at the time that did help a good bit. But so then I got in my current relationship, got more serious, and then I said this is time to go to the next level. So lockdown hit in 2019. I was living in London at the time. I stayed in a lockdown city for a year. Actually still had a pretty sick time, going to be honest. Load of house parties, down at the park. It was a pretty good place to spend lockdown as far as it went. You know, London, people didn't give a fuck. But then I was paying, this is on a streaming platform, right?
But we're different.
Yeah, we're different, right?
That's why we're creating this.
Yeah, nice. And I was still following the rules, you know, within reason, keeping 1 meter apart. And then, so that was that year. And then after that, I said, the lockdowns were still carrying on and my lease had ended. And I said, okay, where can I go in Europe that is open? You know, the gyms are open. That was the main thing because I can't work properly without them. Ireland was similar to the UK, pretty much the same rules constantly. And I said, where do I know in Europe that's more or less English speaking, killer gyms, entrepreneurial community, international community, easy to get to, direct flights, and not locked down, gyms open. So Marbella, which I've kind of been coming to all my life. And that was a really good decision for me to come here. I started looking at properties and notice how the price for what you get is just so much better than Dublin or London. London's, you're getting a flat, you know, tiny for the same amount. And then I ended up purchasing my first property here, renovating it throughout the year. And now in the last couple of months, I'm really feeling the male advantage. I've got my base in a place that I'm very proud to say I own property in. It's just slick. Say, yeah, my Marbella villa. Like, come the fuck on. Like, 16-year-old Rob at the start of this episode could not imagine the current Rob saying that sentence.
Do you ever get those moments still where you just stop and look around and you just go, how the hell is this happened?
Bro, it's a feeling of euphoria.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not real. And I feel like it's just surreal. And I feel like the last decade is like 2 years. Yeah. You know, I feel like I'm still, you know, you look in the mirror and you see yourself and you're like, this is like, oh, time has not passed much. You know, it's like I still find the same things funny. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I just want to take it back one step, because that's you just about to reach the male advantage and how great everything is. All that's near peak male advantage. Yeah. But I want to bring it back to when you asked me that question about, do you think it's better to be single and whatever? I remembered from a lot of other male advantage journeys, there's a consistent trend. Yeah. So they might do their first body transformation or whatever, but then they'll get in a relationship because they got results for the first time, 27, whatnot. And then they go through a breakup. And a lot of these guys do like almost monk mode. Yeah. I think Henry Cavill did it, where he just did monk mode, no women, just focused on himself, went through body transformation 2, got super jacked, and that's when he went from a boy to a man. Yeah. Now, it seems as though you got into a relationship and that was your stability.
Yes.
So you've done it a slightly different way. But would you, obviously it's not monk mode when you're in a relationship, but being in a relationship, did that stop a lot of like the going out, you became more disciplined? Do you think that's when you went from like a boy to a man, and that was almost your transitional years?
So on the topic of monk mode, every time that I've gone into a monk mode phase, I've actually been in a relationship, okay? So the first one I did was 2014, 15, 16. It was a 3-year monk mode. I drank maybe 4 times a year. And this was the stage where I just started YouTube, first ever video uploaded September 1st, 2014. And this is the stage where I said, I need to fucking make it or I'm gonna ruin my life. I'm gonna be jobless. I have nowhere to live. My family got rid of their home. They went bankrupt and they got rid of their home. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't afford rent if I had no job. So I'm fucked if I don't make this work. I'm actually fucking bamboozled, right? So this is 2014, 15, 16, where I just concentrated on YouTube, fitness. I said, I'm going to positively impact as many lives as possible through fitness, through that medium, okay? Because that's what I know. So that was my first period of monk mode, and I was in a relationship during that. And then my second period of monk mode is actually currently right now. I haven't drank or gone out in many months, and I'm competing next week. And then another competition after that. I've just had probably the best 3 months of business ever. It's shocking what you can do when you just fully commit and cut out all distractions. But the interesting thing is that I've done each period of monk mode when I'm in a relationship. And so many guys, right, they ain't like me or you. They'll get in a relationship. Oh, they get takeaway every night. Oh, they'll stay up late watching a movie. They'll ignore work a little bit to hang out with the girl. Not only is that just a surefire way to kill the attraction, is that the most fucking unattractive thing in the world, but you're just losing frame completely. And the way I structure relationships, and the way when I was also single and that I was pulling girls, the way I do it is, right, I'm a train going to a destination. The train is not stopping at any stops, okay? You can jump on, you can jump off. You will not change the trajectory. You will not change the speed. You will not have any drop-off points. The train, the Rob train, the L train, the Lipsetti train is going here. You can jump on or jump off. Girls like that say, oh, exciting. I'm going to jump into his world, okay? If he's doing monk mode, I'm doing it too. Yeah. So girls, whether, you're in a relationship or you're trying to get a girl, that will help you massively to show discipline, to show that, you're concentrated, focused, and ambitious. Those 3 words that I just said there are the most attractive things in the middle, right? So funny enough, every time I've done monk mode, I'm in a relationship. I say, hey, Rob, I want to go out for takeaway. No, I got to work. Sorry, I'm making a living for us. I've got to do this. And they love it, as you would.
When did you get that elite level transition? So you went through I think right now you're what people call a top 1% man. That's
yes,
the aim for
I'm
everybody.
confident in saying that now.
I think that's fair, and I think most people would say that watching it. So you were probably, when you got in that relationship, 27, 28?
Yeah.
And I hope you don't mind me saying, but you're 31 now, which isn't old. Obviously male advantage years. Feeling great. During that 3-year period, you were putting the work in. You were, obviously doing your kind of second or even third body transformation, so to speak, where you're going up to that next level. Yep. What was the financial situation? When did you go, fuck, my money's gone up to another level? That's because that's the big one for a lot of men. They can get, anybody can read a bunch of mindset books. Anybody can get in shape within reason. There's elite level shape, but anybody can make themselves look better. Then there comes the skincare routine and, the clothing and all that sort of stuff. Those smaller tweaks. You can't do them without the money. Yeah. So when did the money really change, if you don't mind talking about that?
I love talking about that. And I know, and I think more people should, okay? And so I have a video game mindset, okay? So I have my banking app, AIB, Allied Irish Bank, Revolut, whatever you use, okay? And I know it's just numbers on the screen, but I just say, how am I gonna get these numbers on the screen up? Every month I wanna set a new PR. I wanna have more money in my account. Okay, and I'm actually I'm a generous person. I'm not frugal, but I'm good at saving, and I'm good at investing and putting things aside. And so every month I would, I have a lot of automation set up. I think that's the best way to build wealth is, so maybe you're putting a percentage into the S&P 500, index funds, crypto, your own business. That's the biggest return of investment you'll see. But either way, I just looked at my banking app and I said, I want to make this go up every single month. That's the most simple way to do it, okay? And so my main source of income were always coaching, brand deals, sponsorships, one-off videos. Coaching was always number one, be it high ticket or my app. So, 1,000 members on the app currently, 39 grand, 39 euro to subscribe. You're talking about, 39 grand a month, sponsors. 10K each, can't really say that, but so, you're earning like more than 50, 60K a month. So I'm building that up. And as soon as I just saw hundreds of thousands in my account, I was like, okay, I need to put this somewhere. So bought this place. I can't say the exact price because I'm going to unveil that on my channel one day, but over $500,000. Had to do a 50% down payment because, I'm foreigner and have a strange self-employed job. So that was over $250,000 transaction. And as soon as I've got hundreds of thousands to play around with, I was like, this is pretty, at the age of 29, so I bought this. I'm like, it's 1%, And I was like, there's actually these graphs and you can just Google them, like average salary or average income of an American age 21, 22, 23. You do any country, but just US is a general guideline. And you just look at how much you earn and just how much the average is. And the bar is set incredibly low. The bar is set incredibly low. It's not hard to get in that top 5%. It's not even, if you're watching this, you're probably someone who is on their way to success.
Well, here's the thing, under 30, the barrier is really low. It's like 30,000 or something.
It's like
just
30,
to be, it's really low.
Yeah.
And then when most people, when most guys get past 30, they gain weight. They just don't look good. So it's almost like when you're young, you've got the body and no money. And then once you get to kind of 30 and beyond, people transition. Where they go, okay, now I don't have the body, but I've got the money. It's like all you had to do is just kind of I've always said the money's going to go up naturally.
Yeah.
Right. Even if you don't put any work in, the boss is going to give you a promotion because you're older. They can rely on you. You've been in the company 10 years.
It's a time thing.
If you're going to be stagnant, then you've fucked around somewhere. You've messed up. And then sadly, relatives, parents, etc. are going to die. You're going to inherit shit. So your money's just going to go up naturally. So if you can just stay in shape and retain your youth to a certain degree, it's all going to come together as a collective anyway. And you've done that perfectly.
Thank you. And I often say the older you get, the more important fitness becomes. And so I've got just a great life. I'm just going to say it. I'm more confident speaking on this channel because I know it's a bit more private. You're just in the Maldives there, live out in Marbella, villa. I get to just do what I like every hour of the day. I have no requirements, no place to be, total freedom. The ideal life setup, amazing network of friends, amazing, beautiful girlfriend, fitness model girlfriend. The fucking works, right? Most important thing is my fitness, is my health and fitness. Is the only thing money can't buy. Is the only thing. And the older you get, the more important it becomes. Every year that you add to your age, the more you need to be prioritizing health and fitness. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I'm genuinely passionate about it, because I'm like, it's just number one. Any guy, let's say fucking oldest billionaire, some 60-year-old billionaire, multi-billionaire, he would give you all his cash to have his knowledge and be in a 28-year-old's fit, healthy body. He would give every single euro he has. So once you actually think about that, that's a powerful thing. It really, really emphasizes how important health and fitness is. Someone who trade it all.
Do you know what's interesting? You mentioned life setup there as well, and I'm massive on life setup.
Yes.
I think that's why you gave me the wink, right? And the life setup is almost the added extras. So everybody goes transformation journey, fitness, money, it's the main things. Do you know what I mean? You just want to get your body in shape. You want your face to look a little bit better. Body fat to come down. You want your money to go up. But then you go, what's the point in having all the money if your life is rubbish? You're not doing anything with it. So you incorporated this place, you start focusing on things like fashion. When was that where you went, okay, I want to push it even further? These additionals, add in, it's almost like the nice car, the nice watch, these sort of things. When did you realize these were super important?
Probably just in the last 3 years when I built up those finances to be able to do these things. And now what's important here to express is finances and money isn't exactly like, the numbers on the screen doesn't impact your life. It's the freedom it gives you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, money's important because it gives you freedom. That's the only reason it's important. Like if you have to be 9 to 9, like 12 hours a day sitting in a cubicle, it doesn't matter how much you make. You can't do anything. You have to be back in that chair on Monday. You fucking Walter Mitty, you know, you can imagine all these scenarios, but like you can fly somewhere on Friday, but you have to be back on Monday. So it doesn't matter. So it's not exactly about the money, it's about how you earn it and how much freedom do you have. And so just in the last couple of years, I've really started to focus on that and delegating and outsourcing things, you know, hiring an editor, hiring someone to help you with videos, hiring a VA to do your emails, you know, hiring an agency to sort your brand deals for your channel. As soon as you start outsourcing things, and it's scary at first because you're like, oh God, I'm fucking wiring some fella off a couple of grand, you know. But you see a return very quickly on that, and your overall stress and anxiety, everything, and your time will just come down. So yeah, just in the last couple of years, that's one thing I'm still also working on is delegating and having your life set up so that it allows you maximum freedom.
One thing that a lot of guys always talk about when it's almost the motivator behind these journeys. It's like some woman at 19, I don't want to make this like an anti-woman thing, but we can talk about it because it's the streaming platform.
Yeah,
so it's great.
the streaming platform.
But there might be a guy who's 19, the girl's 19, she's got way more power than him. You know, she's the beautiful one, he's not. Then the guy works on himself, gets to 30, she might not quite look like she used to.
She's been partying too much.
Been partying a little bit too much, enjoying those looks. She had no reason to put the work in because she was beautiful naturally from the outset.
Yeah.
Without, you know, getting into specifics and naming people and whatever, because obviously this is like unfair. But the girls that you kind of like grew up with, maybe in your hometown, you went to school with, the ones that were like the popular ones, etc. And like, can you see at the age you are now, like the transition where it's like there's been a very deliberate or obvious value exchange. The tables have turned, and now I'm in the male advantage. Like I've got the power now. Can you see that?
It's clear as day. And the funny thing is, okay, when I was like, you know, 19, 20, 21, first of all, I look at a picture of myself at that age and I'm like, who would fuck you? I'm like, who would fuck you? It's like, this would be like fucking a child. Like, this is just terrible. I'm like, you're just a kid. And at the time, so that's the first thing. Like, you don't realize at the time how young you look. Like, when you're like 18, you're like, I can drink and vote. You know, I'm a man. You're still a kid. You are still a kid. Even when you're 21, most guys haven't a clue, like 99%. So that's the first thing. Visually and mentally, you are so young. And if you're like a guy watching this and you're in your early 20s, you understand that. And it's great. You're like, fuck yes, I got 10 years to like just really become the best version of myself. And also another thing is, one thing I'm so glad I did it. I did that early monk mode 2014, 15, 16. I'm so glad I laid a foundation that would set me up later in life. If I didn't do that, I'd be fucked right now. But so visually, anyways, you're still a kid. And another funny thing to note, of course, huge value exchange. But I remember all the girls when I was like 21, like that I was friends with, they'd all be getting with these older guys, right? All getting with these older guys that are like, you know, at least 3, 5, 8 years older. And I'd be like, fuck those guys. Oh, how are they getting with my friends? And it's just so funny. That's how it goes, you know. Younger girls are attracted to older guys, you know, and vice versa. That's how it is. So the exchange is actually in front of you. You just have to see. You just don't notice it.
You see this online all the time, though. Like in the early days, I used to do the male advantage, and as you get older, girls, and I used to spit the same thing.
Yeah.
9 years ago, when I was first doing this, I used to get so much shit. Oh, girls don't want older guys, not when you're washed up and whatever. And you're like, you're saying this, but all I'm seeing is guys in their 30s with their life sorted out. You know, they've got more man meat on them. They might not be as Justin Bieber looking, but they've got more man meat. They look like a bloke. Yeah. Like you said, you're not 18. Looking back, you're like, I wouldn't fuck me either.
Yeah, literally.
It makes sense now in hindsight. Yeah. Like, even looking back a year, I'm like, I'm a different guy already.
Yeah. Do you know the word I love to describe what you're talking about there? Distinguished. Great word. Yeah. You just, as you get older, you look more distinguished, you know? And it's hard to pinpoint. It's like, there's something hugely different.
Yeah.
But you're like, it's like your cheeks, your jaw, your shape of your head, the way you carry yourself, everything changes, but they're all very slight changes.
Those subtleties are massive, like losing a little bit of puff in the face.
Yeah.
So you look more like a man than a child.
Yeah.
Going to a venue which is a 5-star rooftop restaurant, rather than going to like your local club and having a few ciders in the park. And you're like, of course I'm giving off a different aura. Like, you've done more in your life, so you're more confident in certain situations where you're like, I feel like I belong here. Do you think that's massively important once you reach those kind of male advantage years?
Yeah,
feeling
definitely.
like you belong and you've proved yourself.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things to do, talking about spending money, obviously, I have a few big purchases, but the one thing I do like to splash out on, I think it's important to do, is going to a really nice restaurant. Like, I've got Cipriani's just opened up in Marbella. I've got that booked for after my competition next week. It's, beside Nobu and all those higher end places where you're paying like, 300-400 euro for a meal. That's one thing I really think the whole experience is worth it. But it's a lovely thing to be able to sit there and you look around you look at the clientele and you say, I deserve to be here. I'm in the right place. The food tastes better. The atmosphere is good. You got a beautiful girl sitting in front of you, and it's one of the greatest experiences in life. And that's one thing I'm really looking forward to next week. I'm after putting in mad work for the last 3 months. I swear to God, that glass of red wine, that steak is going to taste better. Yeah.
So you're at this stage now. Like, the way you just described it there is perfect. That is the male advantage. The girl, the restaurant, everything. You're set, like you said earlier. I'm on a beach, I'm shredded, life's good. Do you know what I mean? You ticked all the boxes. How long do you see it lasting? Because a lot of people say to me, they don't have the patience. So they'll be 21, they're like, but I don't want to get to 30. Life finally comes together, but then I'm running out of time. Yeah. You've seen a bunch of older guys in the industry. You don't intend to like let your standards drop personally. I've always said you can rock this shit to like 50, 60, and with modern practices, like some of the treatments you can get now, that male advantage can last like 30 years.
Bro, okay, I'll use the best example. This is something that I think about and talk about often. Who's the #1 podcaster in the world? Joe Rogan. What age is he? 55, 54, whatever. He's in his 50s. He's the #1. And this is a really I haven't even spoken about this to anyone yet. It just happened last week, right? So I started a podcast. If anyone's watching this, go subscribe. But I started a podcast and I've done 5 episodes so far. One of the episodes was Dorian Yates. It was the longest episode and he was, of course, the oldest guy. He had the most to say because obviously he's a legend, but just with age comes experience. And he stays in shape, stem cells, TRT, looks after himself. You're really into his health and wellness now. We did a huge piece on that. But Joe Rogan's the same. Like, he's fucking jacked, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean he's aesthetic, but he looks great for his age. He's a very exuberant guy. If you look after yourself, you're going till your 60s. And like, if you're an extravagant person, you've got an amazing life story, then you're the hit of the party. You walk into that room, you walk into Cipriani's, you've got an amazing story, an amazing aura, nice grey head hair on you or no hair. Yeah, exactly.
We just changed the colour.
Yeah, exactly. The SMP thing. And you walk in, you've got a good crew, which is a few chicks, whatever. You got a nice watch on. It's still party time. You're still doing this. You're in the same room as the 30-year-olds. Me, So I look at that and I'm like, even looking at like guys like Wayne Lineker, who's a good mate of mine. He lives the fucking life. Say what you want about him. He's actually one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And he's got an amazing life setup. So it can go on. And there's so many examples of him. There's Gianluigi, there's loads of guys. So it's up to you how long you want your years to go on for. It's completely up to you. And your discipline will just be the deciding factor in that. Like, if you just completely let yourself go, like if I let myself go right now completely, I wouldn't get anything done. I wouldn't like to go on video. I wouldn't like to meet people for business. So that's why I think it all goes back to health and fitness, for not only prolonging your wellness, but for your productivity and your wealth. I think that if you're disciplined with your training and nutrition, you'll be disciplined with your business as well.
I remember in football teams, like, you'd get to a certain age, 25 or whatever, and I was like, like me and my dad would go on holiday together, and people are like, you're going on holiday with your dad, that's weird. Or guys in football teams would be like 10 years older than you, and they'd be like, you're playing with those guys on the same team and they're your mates, and you're like, past a certain age we're all the same. Like 25 to 60, most guys want the same fucking shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The thoughts are the same. You
Yeah,
find
yeah.
the same shit funny. You've of course got more knowledge and more life experience, but like if you're a decent guy, you know, and let's say you're 28 and you're talking to a 40-year-old, if you're two decent fellas, you're gonna have a good conversation. Yeah.
What advice, to wrap up, to finish off, what advice would you give to let's say a 16-year-old watching this today? Technically we might not let under 18s on the platform, I don't know, but if they've snuck through, they've snuck through. Let's say a 16-year-old's watching this, and they're, you know, super depressed, they're down. The advice they're getting online is just talk to somebody or take some medication, or, you know, whatever it is. We know it's not that. We know it's more, you know, getting points on the board, building yourself up, showing a level of patience, and like you said earlier, understanding that this journey exists. It's not given to men. You know, you're not just hot out the gates. You don't have money out the gates. Like the things that we get valued on are earned. And it's like, what advice would you give to that young kid today and say, look, I've done it. If I was back to where you are today, here's what I'd be doing. Here's the most important steps to take.
Great question. Learn the game, right? Learn how it works. Learn how to set up your life to not be chained to a job that you hate. Find out what you're passionate about. Now, when you're very young, you won't know this. Like, I really didn't realize that the gym and health and fitness was for me until, you know, 1920. So try lots of different things. Okay, try loads of stuff. Find out what you're passionate about, because that'll give you a huge advantage. And then get stuck into it. Start visualizing into the future. Say, how can I make a living for this? Start putting in the reps. Take your health and fitness seriously. That's very important. It's going to be so much easier to do it now than trying to do like a mad transformation when you're 40. You know, like if just slowly putting in the reps now instead of cramming in when you're 40. Start doing that now and take life seriously from the get-go. Obviously enjoy, but understand that your 20s is an amazing time to do a little bit of monk mode and, you know, figure out what you want in life. So I would say don't put things off and start now.
So front load in, use those early years wisely.
It's when you got the most energy, man. Seriously.
Rob, that's perfect. Thank you so much, buddy. I think you've given so many people hope there. So many young guys will be able to watch that, see how you did it step by step. That's the important thing. Because I think people see end results. They see where you are now and they think, I could never do that. But, you know, there was an exact journey. And it's not a transformation from first picture to last, which almost seems unobtainable. Oh, we just had good genetics, etc. There is a step-by-step process that they can follow. You've laid it out. So thank you so much for coming here today and doing that. And I'll speak to you soon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
so
buddy.
much.